Hey guys, so in this section what we're going to do is we are going to change some settings in WordPress just to make your sites, your network sites a little bit better for you. Okay, so we're going to go through a couple of sections here really fast. So the first place we're going to go is to settings in general. And we want to make sure in here that we have a nice site title, a nice tagline. Okay, the next place that we're going to go is to reading. And in here, you're going to choose whether or not you want to use posts or you want to use pages. There's reasons to do either, so it's really your personal preference which one you choose. But either way, blog pages show at most X number of posts. So you want to make sure if you're using posts that this is set to the correct number, so all your articles with links are going to show. Also in here, you want to make sure that full text is chosen, okay? Because otherwise, you're going to get the little read more box, which means that your link in most cases is not going to be displayed. Okay, so the next section that we're going to go to is discussion. And since these are network sites, we don't want discussion on them. Okay, so we're going to go through and we are going to want to put comment must be manually approved. Okay, so we want to check that box. Okay. And that's going to make it where there's going to be a huge queue. If it becomes an issue, then you can put something on there to to fight the spam. It's normally not an issue on network sites, but if it is, there's Akismet and there's other plugins that you can do to combat that. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we want to go down here to permalinks. And for most of your sites, what you're going to want is post name, okay? So if you write an article and it's, the top 5 ways to sell something, right? Maybe it's a sales site. Then, what you'd like is yourdomain.com / the name of the article, okay? So that's what you're going to want in most cases. And so make sure that's set. If it's not, go ahead and hit Save Changes down here, okay? The next thing that we're going to do, a lot of the themes, if they're free themes, they are going to have links in a footer. And so we don't need that link juice going out from our site. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to Appearance, and then we're going to go down to Editor. And then we're going to come across here to Footer. And this theme doesn't have that in there, but if it did, you would see a hyperlink in here, okay? And so if you see a hyperlink in here, you can just delete out the link, or you can just delete out all of this text altogether and then hit Update File, okay? And then it's going to remove the footer. Now, if you have a hacked theme, when you do this, it may kill the theme, okay? So, use real themes, guys. Either buy them, or if you're using the, quote, free ones for WordPress, usually you're pretty good. You're only going to run into issues if you're trying to use hacked themes. So I definitely would not suggest that. On this section, the only other thing that I want to make sure that y'all know about, we're going to go in here to customize. And there's lots of settings in here, but this under here is going to say what is on the front page, whether it's posts or a page. So you want to make sure that this is set up the way that you want it. If you're using posts, obviously, then it's going to be like right here, your latest posts. If you'd like to go with a static page, then obviously you're going to choose a static page. Okay, so just make sure that's in there. There's multiple places in WordPress, depending on your theme, that do the same thing. So you want to make sure that if something's not working, that you look in kind of a couple of places, okay? Because individual themes are going to have different settings, but the things I just went through with you should be universal regardless of which WordPress theme you're using, okay? And so the last thing that I want to show you here, and this is going to be related to later, is that you want to make sure that you set up categories and tags, okay? And so as you look here, you're going to see like some of my categories: advertising agencies, branding strategy, sales and marketing, okay? This is going to be important for the theming of your site. We're going to talk more about that in another video, but you want to make sure that when you're building these sites that these are not just colossal generic sites, okay? You want to make sure that they're themed. You want to make sure that there's some logical categories here, okay? So if you're not familiar with WordPress, when you make a new post, it's going to allow you to choose a category. And if you choose that category, then all of the posts that you make will not only appear on their own page, but they'll also appear on the category page for the category, okay? And this is a very natural kind of thing that WordPress does. And so you want to make sure that you have, I have 3 on this site. I would tell you that 3 would be a minimum, okay? If you have a logical niche, then you probably have more like 5 to 6, okay? But 3 is a minimum, all right? And we're going to work more with this later. Okay, so that is it for the back end stuff. The next section we will be talking about plugins. Hey guys, okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is plugins. If you're not familiar with WordPress, a plugin is simply an add-on to WordPress. It is a piece of software that allows you to do something more than the basic WordPress. Some plugins are free, a lot of them are, and some of them have a cost associated with them. So let me show the ones that I'm going to want you to use on most of your sites. Now, you do need to vary things up, okay? Don't have the exact same plugins on every site. For pretty much every plugin that I show you today, there are alternative plugins, okay? And then there's also ways that you can do it without using plugins, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes as well. So the first one that I'd like to add is going to be an SEO quote plugin, all right? You have several choices for that. There's all-in-one SEO, there's Yoast SEO, there's also probably a dozen more that are just as good, okay? So I'm not promoting this particular one. It's just the one I want to show you today. So the one I chose is all-in-one SEO. And in case you're not familiar with WordPress, you're going to start off by going to Plugins, and then you're going to click on Add New. And then this little handy dandy search engine window is going to appear here, okay? And so all of the plugins that we do today, all of them can be found by looking in Search Plugins, all right? So let's go back to All-in-One. We're going to go to General Settings. All right, so a couple of things that we want to absolutely make sure that canonical URLs is checked, and that simply means that site pages are going to be forwarded properly. I'm going to go down here. I also want to make sure that in this section under the title settings, the default for this is going to be that pages and posts, if you see here, it's going to be page title and blog title. So that means that if the page, you call it Dallas SEO, okay, if that's the name of the page, but the name of the blog is Dallas SEO blog, then that means it's going to show Dallas SEO and then Dallas SEO blog, okay? So you typically don't want that, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I am going to just take out this little % here, okay? So what that's going to do is your page titles are going to be your page titles, all right? So if you write a page and it's called About Us, then when you look in your browser, the page is simply going to be called About Us. It's not going to be About Us and then the name of your blog, okay? I'm going to do the same thing on posts, okay? I don't want that in posts either, all right? So simply remove that out, okay? So now my posts additionally are just going to be the name of the post, all right? So I'm going to go back down here a little ways, and I want to make sure that use no index for categories and tags as well, okay? So what's going to happen if you don't use this is that if you write a post and you tag that post with a certain tag or a certain category, then what's going to happen is that you actually can have the same page competing with another page on your site, okay? So you don't want that. There's different strategies where you may want to leave this alone, but for a PBN site, we don't want there to be any confusion about which page is about what, okay? So we'll leave this like it is. The rest of the settings in here are good, so when we're done, we're just going to hit Update Options, okay? So the next one that I want to cover is going to be called Theme Authenticity Checker, all right? And Theme Authenticity Checker is a free WordPress plugin, and you're going to want to use this on your, quote, free themes that you get, okay? And so I'm going to go in here after you've installed it, and again, you're going to find it just like you did, you know, the other ones. I'm sorry, it's in Appearance. So under Appearance, you're going to go here to TAC, Theme Authenticity Checker, okay? And it's going to check out your themes for you. Okay, and what it's looking for is mainly it's looking for malware, but also it can find hidden links and things like that. Okay, so this is highly, highly, highly recommended if you are using, you know, free themes, especially if they're not provided by, you know, like WordPress. I mean, if you're using 2014 theme provided by WordPress, you don't need to use Theme Authenticity Checker, okay? But if you just find some random theme on some random site, then you definitely want to do this, okay? And it's just going to make sure that your site is safe. A lot of people will provide, quote, free themes, and they've got links in them, or they've got malware and other things. So this is a quick and easy way to make sure that you're good. Now, once this is done, you can take this off, okay? So if you know you found the theme you want and you're positive, throw this on, check it, and then you can remove it, okay? There's not a whole lot of overhead, but there's no reason to keep things we don't need. All right, so the next one we're going to use is going to be Link Juice Keeper. All right, and I'm not going to go through the setup of that, but again, when you go to plugins, you're just going to type in Link Juice Keeper, and what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that any links that come to your site that are find a 404 page, meaning that let's say that someone linked to a specific article on the site before you bought it, and that article no longer exists. What Link Juice Keeper is going to do is it's going to take that link and it's going to point it to your homepage. Okay, so all it's doing is just making sure that the link juice that you want is coming to the right place. All right, so that's an easy one. Get that on there. The next one we're going to talk about is related posts. Now again, there's multiple things that we can do with this. Okay, there's multiple different ones. One that I like to use a lot is SEO Smart Links. Okay, and so what it's going to do, you need to set this up, and you need to set up in here. You want to make sure that max links is low, 1 to 3. Okay, you want to make sure also that you want to use categories and maybe tags. Okay, so and this definitely want to put this as 1. The rest of the settings for this are default, so you're good. Okay, so I'm going to go over kind of what this does in a minute, but just throw this in and kind of do those tweaks I just showed you. All right, so the last one I want to cover is a Spider Spanker plugin. It's a very popular plugin, and what it does is it is going to hide your PBN site from all of the spiders and bots that backlink aggregators use, like Majestic SEO and Moz. Okay, so the reason that we're doing this is so our competitors cannot see our sites, cannot see our backlinks. Okay, so we could have a much longer conversation about that, but basically, you want to use a plugin like Spider Spanker. You can also use different files like htaccess to block these spiders. But basically, your site, once it's up, there's going to be all of these bots and spiders that come to your site. And if you do not block them, then number one, they will take away system resources, which means that if you're using cheap hosting, your account can actually get banned. And number two, it means that if another SEO is looking at your money site, he may be able to see your private blog sites. And if so, then he could, report you to Google, and things like that. So you definitely want to use something to do that. So either like an htaccess file, which is something you do by hand, or a great software like Spider Spanker. Okay, so the setup and configuration for Spider Spanker, the maker of that, Todd, does a great job on his site with FAQs and stuff. So I'm not going to cover that. Okay, the last one that I want to talk about today is a simple XML sitemap. Okay, and whichever one you use, it doesn't really matter. There's several ones. Okay, you just want to make sure you want to have one on there. Okay, you want to make sure that Google knows about it, when you update your settings and update your site. Okay, this is going to help you get indexed. So as far as the back end goes, as far as plugins go, the main thing is that you want to just mix things up. Okay, like I told you, any plugin that I just showed you, there's an alternative plugin or there's an alternative method. So don't have all your sites do the same exact thing. Okay, mix it up and keep it safe. If you're not using WordPress, there will be similar applications like this for the other content management systems we talked about, like Joomla and Drupal and stuff like that. Okay, you'll see on here I also have Select Sociable plugin. I like to have social plugins on all of my network sites. You can experiment and find which ones you like, but again, when we go over the live site in the next video, we'll talk about some of these things. Okay, so as far as the plugins go, that's going to be it, and I will see you in the next training.